Hey guys, and welcome to the Igloo today, and today we're going to be talking about the patch notes that have dropped before anything else. Now, yes, they did add a new quest line, the Lying Low quest line, and then they were doing design balances, item remaining, and new screen splash, but then the burrows, I don't even know why they put this in the patch notes. This should just be on the 16th instead of the 9th. I mean, it's fine that you tell us now that we are going to be getting a new dungeon, but is it going to be a high-level dungeon? Or are we going to be needing to have, like, past level 50 and good experience? I mean, we're only going to find out on the 16th now. So, when it comes to a few other things, I want to specifically highlight on the survival mode stuff, because I know on how bad and good it has become. But first, I want to say as right off to everybody else that the amount of risk has been dramatically decreased. Now, when it comes to killing, especially players, I mean, caps are supposed to be one of the big things that people are going to be gunning and running for. But when you reduce the overall reduction to that, to something being like, as for example, the reduce to double it to 25, you're reducing the risk. The whole point of going into survival is that this is a risk scenario, not a hold my hand scenario when it comes to survival games. Same thing as in for the scoreboards. Top 3 players are now based on players killed scoreboard rather than longest life. That is meant to be a good alternative because, I mean, again, it's meant to be hunting the people that are getting the most kills in a certain situation so that you can benefit on killing them on how that is. Again, they still don't get the concept of having a delay of respawn timer because that is one of the biggest things that is needed in this kind of scenario. Same thing is when you need a timer for like at least 30 seconds to 45 seconds to get off the server, or the body not being there for 30 to 45 seconds while you have logged off, quote unquote. But again, it's still pretty crazy that they don't have that concept, just like on how DayZ is when it comes to that. And then the temporary like invulnerability was fixed, but again, it's still going to be janky at the same time because again, you're loading into an area and you're getting shots. You are having a PvP scenario. Then it becomes this handshake mechanic. So as a temporary fix to something, instead of adding different spawn locations that are going to be around the train station, they made it so that it's invulnerable for all times. Again, that's just their decision, but at the same time, there should be an area of spawn location and different spawning mechanic that is for the train stations inside survival mode. But again, they chose the easy route and they made it so that you get grief less. But I mean, it's your fault if you engage in a PvP situation while you are loading up into a train station still in this regard. Again, it's going to be happening to a lot of people, but I digress. But again, what really irks me is the caps, especially because not everybody had the chance to trade. Now, everybody has the chance to always do this kind of stuff or have the inventory to be like, yeah, I want to have 25k caps right now from like my bank 1 character, my bank 2 character, and I really worked hard for it. Like, some people really care about their caps, but to the point that you think that reducing the risk going from double to only 25% of that character's level is completely stupid. What's the point of going into survival mode besides just to grief now, get some junk, and then some aid upon a character when it's not really cool at this point to just do that? There's no reward to what you can get from these types of people. It's not enough of a incentive to cause a reward. What it was before with the double caps, that was a reward. Okay, having these people not have caps and to farm kill these people inside survival mode is something that I've done because that's what the mode promoted inside the survival mode. You're supposed to hunt PvP, have some fun, make sure that you can get that done, get the caps, and you're good. there's been so many times that I've actually even joined servers, and then later on, I was the only one left because I was going around pretty much doing what a survival game is, killing the other people that are there, or having a relationship, or doing something like that in tandem. And this is why I get really screwy when it comes to that. Now, the other part, and this is why like a lot of farming is going to be back, not as in adventure mode as well, not just survival mode for this kind of regard. And this is turret attack damage and range tuning. Player built turrets are now affected by player PvP damage rules, which feature damage scaling as well as an increase in base damage for all types of turrets at the range of plus 15 to plus 100 damage depending on the turret. So there's going to be some nutty turrets on top of everything else when it comes to this. Additionally, the turret attack range has been increased to match players and weapon ranges. So we can shoot from a very long distance to almost near render distance. I haven't tested it myself just yet, but I mean, you can shoot literally for what you can see from your server instance of you being as a client in this case. And this is just crazy. Shotgun turrets projectile spread has been reduced, so they put a choke on it to better match the combat shotgun. These changes should help turrets in camps. So again, if you're in survival mode, it's only just making turrets more tankier for you to be having a better secure location for your camp. So again, for what people have been using prior to farm people, especially by staying alive as long as possible, in that instance, that is going to be an extreme regard. But then, since survival mode has gone from longest alive to hunting those people to longest and not longest on how many people have kills, it's going to be extremely important in this kind of note. And here's a couple of things that they added. So April 9th crafting, several craftable hats and outfits have their crafting cost increased and cap values decreased. Note, previously it was easy to gain lots of caps by crafting and selling these items. It's not really hard to get caps. I don't know why like the devs are making it harder for you to get caps in this game when there's so many ways to do it so easily. Even if you want to trade legendaries in like Market 76 or something like that, people will just be like, all right, 6k caps, done. All right, we're good. Like it's not really hard to farm for your time on top of everything else. And this is still a time focused incentive when it comes to it. Same thing with the new dungeon. It's going to be a time focused incentive when it comes to actually doing the farming and the techniques for what we're going to be doing in that kind of setup. So, item assignment icons. When viewed a stash or transfer menus, items that have been assigned to an object now display icons next to their names, indicating that they have been assigned. For the moment, these icons will only appear on items assigned for the fermentator. In the future updates, we plan to implement more of these types of icons. So that means we're going to be having different stations for different specialized things in that kind of regard. So we might be having more than just the view of the fermenter and a few other things like that. Map, selecting a mark on the map will now make it visible in front of any other overlapping map icons, such as teammate icons. So okay, that's just a QO quality of life thing. But I mean, when it comes to that, I mean, they're always talking about fixing performance hitches and everything else, but again, with an engine that's really wonky, it's still going to be the same thing no matter what, until they do massive upgrades for what we're going to be seeing in the Elder Scrolls kind of genre. And there's a lot of patch notes when it comes to it, but I wanted to focus on that specifically because of the whole regard of them having a survival thing. The survival thing is a risk-reward mechanic. If you're going to be cherry handling people that are PvE oriented and then going to survival. This is not their mode, okay? This is not for them to play. Adventure mode is one thing, survival mode is another thing. If you make it easier, more people from the adventure mode will come on over. This might be one of their things that they are trying to do on top of everything else. But personally, it's not a good mixture. You would rather have a hardcore full loot mode that people would like to do, because people like to have a survival game, a real survival game, versus other people to be in that situation, to have conflict, to have those certain things. That's why many games, Daisy Standalone, Rust, and so many other games that are full loot games are really enjoyable. But like I said, they should be a separate instance. They should not have legendary effects, and they should be a completely different kind of base than what they've been doing. They for what we've been seeing is that they were trying to do as little amount of work as possible while adding a PvP mode. And for what this is, this shows us that they are still catering to adventure mode and not as much as survival mode. Survival mode is literally a gimmick at this point because of this patch, and it's not really worth even just PvPing people. So, I mean, if you really want to have the experience, it's mainly going to be the cooperative experience, just like in adventure mode. Yes, you can still go into survival mode in PvP, but that incentive, that want that you can get from people, from just PvPing people, is not going to be the same, because they reduce your overall profit for the little amount of time that you might have to play video games. For me personally, my time has been cut because of having a job and working from 7:30 in the morning until like anywhere from 5:30 to 6 o'clock at night. My time is limited. I only have like maybe 3 to 4 hours, and most of this is just promoting this to you guys so that you guys can understand how I would feel coming into a situation like this. And this is why I can't play games like Rust or just straight up Ark, because those are grind fest games that you really need to have like a lot of time to play to appreciate and have fun. If you guys like this kind of content, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. And the next video that I'm going to be doing is pretty much the event, what is it called? The Lying Low quest line. So I'll be probably live streaming this as well, trying to get this all figured out. And it will probably be in a further community update. So again, if you like this stuff, like, comment, subscribe. And if you really like my stuff, there's a Patreon down below. If you want to join the conversation, there's Discord in the description as well. Have a good one, guys.